just looking at cameras.
Just the sound of Ward typing away on his keyboard, and then, oh, hi there, guys.
Yeah, that's
a
what
really
we're
exaggerated typing movement, like a fucking Thunderbird's doll or something.
I always go into Hacker Typer, so then it makes me look like I'm actually a Hacker Typer.
We're live, guys. Are you kidding me, John? This is teamfortress.tv. We're bringing you Fully Charged Europe episode 10. Incredible. Big X. I am Admirable again. No camera, but some gift that I can't see because I don't have the bandwidth to look at the stream. CommanderX is here. Kaidus will be joining us. We have WARHURYEAH as well. Just can't seem to get rid of that guy. He follows me around, PCWs and everything. John on the streaming duties as per usual, but we got a guest today, and that will be Hildreth, Demoman for High Pander, Lazy Pandas, and all-round TF2 stalwart scene superstar. Welcome, Hildreth.
Hey, what's up?
CommanderX. I think we're going to go to a little look at the news first and round up what's been happening this week in ETF2.
Yeah, we have. Before we get straight to results, we have one little bit of gossip, which is MSH has been moved to backup for GG Well Played, and Rico will get the full-time spot.
Oh,
Rico
nobody saw that coming.
My favourite player ever. If I could, actually no, I can't say this because there's 2 Russians I love. There it is, 3 Russians I love. Oh wait, no, actually I'm not going to stop because there's too many, but I like the Russians. I like Reko. He's a good player. He's definitely a better player than MSH.
Rico's sick. Yeah,
he's not going to be like a liability, and
he's going to be a strength if anything.
It's a shame that Yangpai let him leave, because Yangpai is a better scout than Atomic. So if they had Yangpai and Reko playing, they'd be pretty sick, which is the only shame from this, but at least they've gotten a little bit stronger.
Yeah, it's good for them. Not so good for MSH. Any other news? I'm happy with it. It's nice to see Rico playing again. He's a 6 scout.
I'm sad for MSH. You know, he's like really, I don't know, like a cartoon villain almost. He's so keen, yeah. Like he really wants to play. He wants to compete, but he just can't see how he is the problem, or he seems oblivious to. You know, like if he could just sort of adjust his attitude, surely he would be a good choice for the team. Like because he is so willing to play and wants. He's got a really strong desire.
The good thing is, though, he's actually made it to Prem and played an official, so he hasn't been kicked before he got the chance to play an official. He actually managed to play an official, so I'm sure this is going to be he can finally remove the Div1/Prem from his recruitment post in the future and just have it as Prem now. He's hit that milestone.
Excellent progress. While we're on the subject of GG Well Played, it sort of moves us nicely into the results. GG Well Played played their first official of Season 18. They played against Epsilon, and they got pretty convincingly beat. 6-2, 6-2 on both maps, Granary and Gully Wash. I don't think anyone really saw anything else coming from that.
I know a mystery predictor who did, but unfortunately he's not here right now. Or is he?
It would be... Yeah, I saw that. It's fucking stupid. Like, not only that, but he actually put it down that Rocket would actually score rounds against BFF, so he must be fucking stupid. But yeah, I don't know. I think GG Well Played. I think they sort of had potential to cause an upset, but they obviously didn't.
Well, me and Kaidus casted the game, and from what we saw, it looked like, I don't know, it almost seemed like GG Well Played were just really scared of Epsilon. Like they weren't playing how they normally do. They were playing really timidly, giving out mids really easily. They weren't really playing the TF2 they normally play. And obviously, you give Epsilon that sort of respect and room, and they're just gonna roll you, really.
Yeah, I think that happens quite a lot with teams that are sort of hovering
below Prem
around.
teams.
Yeah, they're sort of always. They'll play really ballsy against them during PCWs, and then as soon as it comes to an actual official, they'll just play completely differently. They'll play without, you know, any sort of cohesion with everybody. Everybody starts doing stuff that they'd never normally do, and just do weird stuff, and that's probably why.
You go, ads.
There is that psychological factor when you play against Epsilon. I've definitely experienced it in the past. You know, there's like I don't know. I suppose it's equivalent to teams coming up against the old Manchester United, where you've just almost psyched yourself out a little bit. Maybe these guys are feeling that. Hildreth, have you ever felt that way about playing against Epsilon?
Well, we don't need to feel that way about playing against Epsilon. They just beat us anyway, so it doesn't really make a difference.
Even if we try our hardest.
That's the attitude.
Well, I've always had the attitude, it doesn't matter who you play against, you just play the same way that you always play. It doesn't really matter. You've got to go into every game like that.
I think it'll be interesting seeing GG well played throughout the season, like in their next game. So we're interested to look forward to that and see if they can, actually play the TF2 they're used to playing. But yeah, I mean, a lot of the results are pretty clear cut. The next game I've got on the results list is Fenix against Saints. Fenix won 6-1, 6-1. I didn't have much of a chance to watch it. I watched, I think, the first map, Granary. But again, the scoreline seems pretty convincing. I don't know if anyone saw it. Maybe it was more even in the game.
Yeah, I cast that one with Byte on the Mighty Vanilla TV. And it was pretty interesting, but Saints were never really in it. One thing I did, or was impressed by, was Rag, the new pocket. Like, he seemed to have pretty excellent timing at certain points, had some big plays, but didn't capitulate into any rounds. Denia as well made quite a few big plays as well, but generally they were just outclassed by Fenix.
It's a shame that Denia is also a massive bell end.
Oh well, I just wanted to set you up there, Warrior, for the
are we going
Saints
for
versus war drama?
An early war run?
No, it's just, I don't mind Saints. It's just Denia's a bell end for leaving our team. He left Superstars because he didn't feel like fucking playing. He's a massive vagina.
Saints actually came out and won the first round, as I remember. So they were in the lead briefly, but then just seemed to lose all composure. Smira, he's like too over ego on the demo man roll.
When I was watching, I think it was Granary I was watching, he got crits quite a few times.
Terrible crits as well, yeah.
I don't know, they kept seeming to go for the crits plays, and it just, I don't know, like after a while as a demo man, if you see you're not hitting the crits, you kind of almost just, I don't know, tell your medic to almost give up or just play normally,
I think Saints are going to have sort of one of those seasons where they're going to have a few players that will sort of shine for them, which will probably be Denia, Smear.
I know Rag was good. I agree with Ads. I want to echo that. Like, I thought Rag, I hadn't really heard much about him. I thought it was maybe going to be a bit of a weak link, but from judging from the performance I saw on Granary, if anything, he's
on the Fenix side. Like Rib and GF18 played very well. I can expect.
Yeah,
GF18 seems to get better and better. Like season on season. He is
so fucking underrated. It's insane. Like, he is really, really, really good. He's probably like the reason why Fenix actually do pretty well. He will sometimes absolutely drag them through games. He's a very, very good heavy as well, which is actually something that is quite strange. Quite a few people, and especially scouts, are off class because they just feel like it, not because they actually need to and it's the right thing to do in that part of the game. They'll just sort of randomly go various amount of classes, but GF18 plays pretty smart. He off classes when you actually need it. Yeah, he's a good player overall. He'll be, again, really, really good. He was good last season. He will be good this season as well.
Well, we've got, with Walters and Riv, they've got a lot more players as well who can, if you've got half your team now dragging you through results, chances are you're going to win a lot more games, really.
The only problem I think they've got with that team is the soldiers. Like, Klar is a really good soldier, and Kalari they're very good. But the thing is that Klar drops off and was probably whining when things go bad, and he does it a lot.
Clark's quite inconsistent. He often starts strong and then drops off. Yeah.
Skeege is a good caller, but he's nothing fantastic, and he can sometimes sort of go a bit bitish and go off the handle a bit. So I don't know if Rib is going to start sort of speaking up. I can't really get hold of their comms, but if they can remain stable, because I think these guys have the potential to do really, really well with the lineup. So I reckon they could possibly cause upsets against Epsilon and BFF. So it just depends on how their players react when they're on the back foot and when things aren't going well.
Yeah. The final result in our list of opening games, obviously the Rocket versus BFF game was wildcarded. I don't know if you guys have any updates on when that will actually be.
No.
Probably gonna be. It's not gonna be this week. We can only really play Sunday, Monday, Tuesday in the week 3, so it's probably gonna be one of those days.
Okay then. Yeah. Well, the final game was 425 versus Lazy Pandas, Mr. Hildreth's team, and it was 5-0, 5-0 to 425.
5-0, 4-3.
Was it 4-3?
Yeah, if you look at the fixtures, it tells you the wrong scores.
Oh, and that's where I got my results from. Oh, so it
What
wasn't
is
that bad.
ETF2L doing with this ad revenue? They can't even fix their website. Disgusting.
Okay, well, Hildreth, you played in the game. Talk me through it from your point of view.
Oh, the match against 425 was yeah, it just felt pretty. And like I went in for an interview after the game, and people were saying I sounded really depressed, which is pretty normal. But that's how it really felt on Granary. We couldn't really do anything. I'm sure you've all played TF2 games where you don't really like. You feel like you're doing everything you can, but you're still losing.
You don't know the answer.
425 are really good at Granary as well. Like it's their strongest map.
Yeah, we just
so
couldn't get
you just
in on
kind of
middle.
got unlucky on the map draw, really, to a certain extent.
Yeah, we just couldn't get in on the middles at all and win any of them, so it made it really difficult for us. So we were already behind, and then just got worse. But on Gully Washu, it was a bit more positive, and we had better success on middles, but we just really couldn't break them down. But they were a better team than us. They practiced for longer.
How are the newbies after their first Prem official? The Highlander gamers, are they still keen to play Prem? Or as the 5-0 ruined their lives?
It's hard to say because at the moment we're all focusing on except Tracker, he's super keen to 6v6 scout. He could have joined 425 as well in the postseason. He was telling me, but he chose us instead, which was sweet of him. But we're all focusing on the Highlander season. It's going to end next week. Then after that, it'll be more on the sixes.
Yeah, maybe we should. That kind of covers all the results from the first week. Not a lot really to take from that. You know, one game in, kind of quite a few uneven. So brought up the Highlander final. So you played the semi-final tonight. Is that right, Hildreth?
That's correct.
You won, right? I saw like part of Lakeside, and you were 2-0 up at the time.
Yeah, we won Lakeside 3-1, won Process 5-1. So a pretty comfortable win.
Yeah, Ads, you should take over this bit because you know much more about Highlander than me and War. You are the local expert on all things Highlander.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a pretty good season in the Premiership. Maybe one of the closest, even up until the last week. It wasn't really decided who would make it into the playoffs. My team Stack didn't make it despite our best efforts to claim a default win. But, you know, what have your thoughts been on the season so far compared to like last season where you made it all the way to the final, Hildreth? Are you going to claim victory this time?
Yeah, I hope so. We got the best team probably on paper. But now, it's all good. We're going to play in the final. Some of those people on their team are on our sixes team. So we know them really well. We're quite good friends with them. So we're pretty confident we'll beat them because Go ahead.
What did you think about the sort of the rise of chess clubs sort of coming back from being missing a lot of players during the main part of the season, then picking them up just around the time of the playoffs and sort of getting a second win there? Will they be a team to watch in the future?
Yeah, I mean, this is really strange because you get it all the time in 6v6 as well. They're just basically picking up unknowns or people who are like lower div superstars, just sticking them in, giving them a chance. And then I've come in and seen them play. Like some of the people were pretty unknown, but they played really well in our matches. Even like one of the heavy example called Breakfast Junior. Like no, it's his name. This is name Breakfast Junior. Might be like 15. I don't know, but he was really good. The Quintosh, the demo man, was really good actually. Like he was jumping around. I mean, I'll give him the biggest compliment I can think of is to say that he gave me more problems than kaidus did for SNSD.
Yeah, I got really smashed by Quintosh in one of our games as well with those caber jumps and stuff, and it was funny because like I was trash talking him to the team before. I was like, Quintosh, this guy's terrible, and then got absolutely humiliated. But yeah, I was impressed by them, and I just want to ask you as well. Like, people are always belittling Highlander, and I'm sure I've done it in the past, and I love to sort of play both sides of the sixes versus Highlander debate. But like, having played a couple of seasons in Div 1 and Prem, I've really been impressed by like how developed Highlander is and like how much depth there is to the game. Like, how can you sell it to people? How can you win over these doubters who say like Highlander is just a glorified pub?
You can't really sell it to people if their minds are made up about it. The main thing about TF2, competitive TF2, is now that there's Highlander, the format I don't know what I'm trying to say here. There is something for everybody who plays TF2 now that there is Highlander. Because if you're a Pyro main and you play Dust Bowl 24/7 and you watch I-49 stream in the summer and say, oh wow, look at this, Americans versus Europeans, this is going to be amazing. And then you're like, wait, where are the Pyros? Then you're not going to be that interested in 6v6. But if you see that there's a format that actually allows you to play what you love in TF2, then you're going to be interested in it. And then over time, you might play Highlander for a while and realise that Pyro is absolutely shit class and nobody loves it. And you can't do anything. You might go and play 6v6 like our Pyro did.
You think that's the pattern? Get people in to play Highlander, and then all the people that play shit classes will end up getting mad at playing sixes. Is that the dynamic?
That's the idea.
Seems like a foolproof plan.
Am I putting words in your mouth?
The less Pyros there are in as well, the better, to be honest.
It's true. I mean, in TF2 we all know that there's a reason Pyros are not used as a main in 6v6 is because they're not as good. And of how fast-paced TF2, and when you play it with 6 players, Pyro's not a class to use.
It kills the game. Like ever since they made those
it's
changes.
Not even about killing the game.
Well, no, I mean it doesn't kill the game in sort of like it's stabbing it in the heart and it makes it uninteresting. I mean it kills the flow of the game. It completely can stop a game dead in its track. It's ruined public for me, and it's ruined. Well, it's not ruining 6v6 because it's not common, but I think that's why I'm bitter about Pyros, because it's ruined the public experience.
I like the Pyro dynamic.
I think it's just there was a time when Pyro, like when air blasting first came out, and it was quite slow. It would fire slower than a rocket. A soldier takes to shoot his rockets. So when you actually had to air blast, you had to use something called timing and skill and anticipation. You actually sort of had to, read the soldier, look at when he's about to fire the rocket, get it as soon as it comes out of his gun and reflect it back in his face. But now all we have to do is just hold mouse 2. That's it. I can play Pyro really easy. Pyro is probably the easiest class in the game. I don't care what anybody says about you would never be able to play Pyro in a top team. It requires literally no skill to press mouse 2. I'm going to stop now, guys, because it's getting me a little bit riled up.
But Pyro gets all this abuse, yet why are there so few good Pyros? Name one, Steve, the Pyro. Does anyone else know a good Pyro, an impact Pyro?
It's because it doesn't exist. Pyro is literally there for one use, which is spy checking.
Especially the way it's played in Highlander, it's not really an opportunity. You just have to kind of play the bitch role the whole time.
Not if you've not watched Steve play. He doesn't play the bitch role.
If you ever play Pyro as a main in 6v6, it's awesome. And I've always wanted to just sort of you can just destroy everybody. I mean, you can rocket jump
It's just a demo man saying,
yeah,
the amount you can do with Pyro is ridiculous. I would play that class.
I will.
If that was
would
true,
wreck
everybody
some
would
bitches.
use Pyro.
It's just they just don't see the potential in the class. All the fucking rocket jumps that you can do with it, just messing things up. But hopefully nobody catches on to it, because then it will destroy comp tier 2 when it's just Pyro, just air blasting and
there's a lot of subtlety to Pyro, though. I think you really, and this is part of why it gets a bad reputation. People just focus on that air blast and say, oh my god, it's overpowered, because they play against it and they get frustrated. But still, there's only a few people who are genuinely good Pyros.
I think no, it's just because I don't know. You can't really be exceptional at that class because it's not an exceptional class.
That's
skill
what
healing.
I mean.
The skill stealing is non-existent. There is no sort of you can't go further. The thing is that when you look at Scout, you run around as a Scout, you shoot people, and you become better at dodging. The movement side of it is insane. So when you look at Scouts, how they used to play about 3 years ago, it used to be just general left-right dodging, jumping around.
Mm-hmm.
And now you get people now that when they dodge, they jump in the air, they start doing circle strafes and their double jumps. They make it a lot harder. The skill ceiling is a lot quicker, higher. With a soldier as well, once you start being good with your general aim, you then got rocket jumping. You've got all of these other sort of like extra things that you can learn to improve yourself, to like up your game and give yourself an edge over everybody else. With Pyro, what have you got? Like to air blast quicker. Air blasting is already piss easy. Just press mouse 2. That's it. Odds are you're going to reflect something. Like there is, the skill cap is just minuscule, and that's why you will never find an exceptional Pyro.
But it's playing it as part of a team of 9 players. It's not just like, oh, I'm playing Pyro MGE here.
Yeah, but the
It's
thing is
like,
that you might as well just get rid of your Pyro player and just add a bot as a Pyro. There you go.
Are we talking about it in Highlander or Sixes?
Both.
Highlander.
Highlander
We're
mainly.
getting totally off on a tangent here. Anyway.
Because the point of Pyro is, as War was saying, there's no like skill ceiling you can use to make it be more useful in 6v6.
Yeah.
Like, there's only so much the class can do in comparison to when you play against ridiculously good scouts and soldiers and demomen who know how to focus targets and use the map and everything.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean,
what about say Steve played Pyro main and now plays Medic? I don't know. He's obviously been able to jump classes, so he's obviously learned something from playing Pyro at the
I think the competitive like sort of edge is what gets you there. Like it's a good introduction. So if he's been playing Pyro and he's good with it, there is still going to be a case when he's going to want more and think, you know, I'm only playing Pyro here. I want to start like viewing out, going to different classes. And if I'm honest, if you're a good medic, I reckon medic could be very, very fun and very, very nice to play, because you can literally just control your team and you sort of dictate the game as well, which is why. So I think you sort of gain the base experience from playing your respective class in Highlander. So for like Pyro, end up searching for something more, unless there's actually a reason why he wants to play medic.
Well, at the time we just wanted to find someone new to play medic, and Steve was like, "Can I play?" And I was like, "Sure." And then we played with him, and he was actually really good, to my surprise. I think the main thing about medic as a class is it doesn't necessarily matter how good you are, as long as you know the basic mechanics of medic. It's all about the attitude. I think 90% of it in knowing the people you play with. So if you can
main
have good
call
chemistry.
as well, don't you?
No,
So,
I don't really.
Do you not? No, does Zoob main call?
Yeah, half and half.
Yeah, well, having someone, you know, like, lead you around to a certain degree, like, if your pocket's in a good position, it's pretty easy to be in a good position as medic. You know, when you've already got that kind of stability moving into the class, it's obviously going to be like a huge helping, like a huge stepping stone. You don't have to worry about that as more, you just kind of follow your pocket around to a certain extent and you can focus on other things.
Yeah, I agree. When you're new to medic as well, it helps that your pocket's sort of micromanaging you a little bit, telling you who to heal, telling you when to pop Uber. So that was one of the problems we had when we played Gully Wash, and Steve dropped Ubers. He didn't know exactly when he should pop, and then we called it too late, and he dropped Uber by then. So that's one of the things you got to take care of with a medic, especially the one that's new to the format.
It's good. I'm glad people are I'm glad that you're making the effort, and hopefully other people will follow to sort of get people from Highlander to 6v6. My personal opinions of Highlander are one that will probably require a special episode of Fully Charged, so I won't dwell into that too much now.
Just write a blog just about it.
Yeah, I will. You know what? That is a fantastic idea.
Oh my god.
I will go onto my blog. Let me just start typing that now. WARHURYEAH.com. Let me just new post. Why Highlander sucks dick. I've saved that. So
Oh, whoa.
that's gonna start.
Shots loaded.
I'll get cracking. Just wait for the fire.
Hildreth,
Sup?
I want to know, like, how has it been, or why did all these top-level Highlander players that are in your team decide to make the switch to sixes? What was it? Was it something that pissed them off about Highlander, or they just wanted to play 6v6 with Hildreth, the 5th best demoman in England?
To be honest, they've been playing Highlander for a long time. Like, everyone except Steve. Sorry, not Highlander, 6v6, but like in the lower divisions. And they had their own teams, and I was thinking I want to make a new team because I didn't play last season in 6v6. So I thought I want to make a new team. Who can I play with? Me and Zoob and all of my friends.
What sort of division are these guys coming from then? Like,
Lazy Bear played in Div 4, 3, one of the two. I can't remember which. Mookie played in 4. Tracker played in Div 4, I think, and Steve's played maybe Scout, a season of Scout like 3 seasons ago in Div 6.
Is
Div
this
4 is
like
the new Prem.
is it like a new phenomenon that these Highlander players, not necessarily from Prem, but maybe it's just that I started playing Highlander recently and I recognize the names, but I keep seeing teams with like lots of Highlander players in them. Is this like something that we should encourage, bringing them into 6v6? Is this like the natural progression? Are they coming to the one true game mode now?
Well, you have to see there's talent in every sort of section of TF2, where it doesn't matter where you start. There's lots of talented players around. It's just about getting them into competitive. It's the main thing. Doesn't matter if they start in Highlander, if they their friend drags them in, or if they watch a stream and decide to make a team or something like that. There's talent on every corner of the internet.
Is 6v6 the end game though? Is Highlander just like a step on that? Or do you think Highlander is I think it's valid in its own way. I'm just trying to, create some sort of a debate here.
If you want a game mode that's more like competitive in terms of esports, we're using that term again.
Esports, oh yeah.
Yeah, then this is the way to go. The skill ceiling's higher. You don't have to worry about bullshit like spies and snipers and pyros and everything.
I think for me, I don't mind Highlander, I don't hate it, but I see it as a game mode. It's only going to go so far. There's a limit that I see with Highlander, and it's not going to be sort of like beneficial for the game in the long term. But like in terms, there will always sort of be like a very, very small peak. With competitive TF2 and 6v6, I don't know if we've sort of hit that now already or it's gone like ages ago, but the thing is that you've got 9 players on each team. There's only going to be so much that you can sort of do to cater for 9 players all the time. There isn't going to be like any like LAN scene of a substantial amount because the cost to bring 9 players over is going to be insane. Like getting prizes for a Highlander is going to be absolutely terrible because you have to get 9 people to do it anyway. It's already tough for 6v6 because compared to most games, you've still got 1 extra player. Now, even though that 1 extra player doesn't seem much, but it's 1 extra player that sponsors have to dish out prizes for compared to other games now as well.
That's one of the things I like about Highlander. Like, there's no delusions about being an esport. They know that there's not going to be any lads.
I guess it is more sort of like fun orientated, which is why it's good. But I don't
it's
think
not though, man. It's super serious. Yeah, this is the rumor I'm trying to dispel. Like these guys are putting in.
Well, I think the way to think about it is you should stop about comparing Sixes and Highlander and just think about competitive TF2 as a whole and how it benefits from new players.
I definitely think it's a benefit. I'm not arguing against it. I'm not really comparing the two because they are 2 different completely game styles. It would be just a waste of time. I stopped doing that ages ago when, it's just not going to work. I think it's beneficial for us in the long term, but there is going to be a point when I think the main thing is that we have all of these players, right? So we've got people that are finally interested and keen in a game mode for TF2. Everybody's sort of been whining for ages that TF2, like 6v6 is dead. But the only reason why is because we've only got ourselves to blame. I keep on saying it, but what do we have to sort of guide new players that are playing Highlander to come over to 6v6? The only thing that we've got is teamfortress.tv and streams, and that's pretty much it. We don't have like as much. One thing that I keep on mentioning is My Game and Edge. Like before TF2 went free to play, like we had that, and that was a good way of getting people into competitive TF2 because it looked professional, it had a good brand behind it, and it looked all nice and happy, and everybody was like, wow, look at all this. This is amazing. And now we don't have that anymore. We don't have any content to sort of bring new players into 6v6. It's just going to take... We've got Highlander now that's getting more popular. We've got free to play in like 60,000 people that play this game every day, but we still don't have enough to bring them over to competitive. And if we struggle to bring Highlander players to play 6v6, we're not going to have any.
Well, you kind of brought up a point about the coverage there, and I think just as a spectacle, like as a viewing, a piece of entertainment, like if I was new to TF2, 6v6 has less going on. It's much more easy to see like one team's holding because they have advantage, one team's pushing because they have numbers or something. Like it's much easier to grasp onto that compared to say when I see Highlander and you've almost got like 3 1-on-1s happening at any one point, regardless of what the combo's doing. There's so much more going on. It's really hard. I'd find it even harder if I was new to like decipher what's going on.
Yeah.
Especially when most of it's in from like first-person point of view, and you're watching one person's point of view with 18 players playing the game. Of course, you're going to miss most of the action.
Yeah, I was actually right.
I think that's a bit naive though, because it's like if you know what to look for in a Highlander game, it is easy to follow or easy to cast.
That's what I mean. But if you're new,
you have to. It's
I
already.
mean, that's up to the casters and the cameraman to.
I don't think so. Like I think even from 6v6, like a player that's playing public who's watching 6v6 is going to be relatively struggling to keep up with what's going on, because I mean, let's put it this way: at the end of the day, well, it's getting better now with spectator tools and stuff. So we've actually got the tools required to sort of make it clearer for people to see what's going on.
That's on the casters, though.
Yeah, it is, but it definitely is. But my point is that when you compare TF2 to other games, it's very, very sort of different. It's always going, you're not really 100% sure on what's happening all the time. Like if you compare it to Counter-Strike Go, everybody is aware of what's happening in Counter-Strike Go because it's exactly how you play it in public. No one's really 100% sure what's going on in 6v6 because it's a completely different game to public. Well, it's not completely different, but it's a vast difference to how it's played in public because you have these class restrictions, you have these unlock rules. And I think the same is pretty much for Highlander. It's going to be more understanding for new players to watch Highlander. I think it's going to be somewhat difficult for them to sort of capture everything when you watch it. It's just you're not going to understand exactly what's happening. I mean, not only that, one thing as well is when you look at game modes, I mean, how many does Highlander have? You normally have the 5EP maps, don't you? You have King of the Hill. Do you play CTF?
No, I've decided not to anymore.
Yeah, you've got CP maps, you've got King of the Hill, you've got Payload, you've got maps like CP Still as well. You've got loads of maps, and if you look at other games like Counter-Strike Go and competitive and Dota, it's just one map, one more. That's it. You don't have all of these different.
That's more orientated to TF2 on the whole, though. Like it's just multiple games.
That's why I think adding Turbine and maybe even adding Gravel Pit would have been a huge mistake. You need to streamline everything. You need to make it seem like, we're not trying to entertain people with the maps that we're playing. We're trying to entertain them with the content. And I think that when you add all these weird maps, new players are going to be sort of like, whoa.
But these teams aren't here to like entertain people. They're here to play and enjoy it themselves. Like the casting is secondary.
Also, I think like game modes like Payload or Gravel Pit, whereas attack and defense is a lot easier to understand as a concept. You don't have really a concept much of a flank because it's attack versus defense. It's much more straightforward to see what one team's trying to do because they're always trying to do the same thing for a given amount of time. Same with Payload, it's attack versus defense, so you can see how well a team's doing by how far along the cart is. You can see a team set up to defend, and the other team's going to try and like suicide in or go aggressive to get in, make some space, and that. I think that is a lot much easier to watch than like a 5CP map.
Yeah, Arc's always championed the Payload maps. He was like, sixes are missing out because Payload is like the ideal format to cast because the action moves with the cart, and if you can. It keeps everything sort of together like that. But,
it gives a centre the same way you don't always have that in Highlander.
I would say King of the Hill is more beneficial for 6v6 because it force fights. You're not really sort of playing that's likely to have terribly stalemating maps as well. It's very, very basic. It's King of the Hill. King of the Hill was pretty much able to be transferred between almost every, well, not every game, but everybody knows what King of the Hill means. It's in them. But when you sort of, I mean, that's even good for Highlander. I think the only Highlander game that I watched was like one on Lakeside, and it was actually entertaining a little bit because I knew what was going on. I could spectate everything. The fight is forced to sort of one area. There's much the same like it would be with Payload, but I think some Payload maps are a little bit too big for it. But that has to sort of cater to the amount of players on it. I think Badwater is a good map to play. It's really, really enjoyable. But the fight is split up by quite a bit because of the various places there are on the map. Yeah,
it's a popular public map as well, and that's what we're kind of aiming for with these casts to a certain degree, is to entice more people to watch CF2 to get a bigger community, to keep the community like healthy. That's what we're aiming for, and stuff like, having a popular public map played as well in comp makes it a much more easy stepping stone, Then these new players don't have to also deal with playing a map they've never played before in their life, as well as
or looking
having to
at a
deal with all
map
these
that
new
they've never
concepts.
seen before, like looking at all these maps. And I mean, CP still is probably one of I love CP still to play on public. It's really, really fun, and I just don't see it being a very, very enjoyable map to actually watch, because you can obviously cap the final point at any point, and then you've got all the other points of the map that you cap to. You can cap them one by one.
I love Steel, man. I love Steel.
It is so fun. I really, really enjoy it. The best part of Steel, when it does actually go through all the cap points, and you're just on E, and just the defending that goes from it, and it's so intense. You've got people falling into the pit all the time, and it's really, really fun to play. But it is going to be an absolute shitstorm to watch, because there's just too much shit happening in many areas of the map.
Oh, look, I think we've been joined by kaidus.
Oi!
44 minutes late.
Am I on time? Are we live?
Luckily, we're on schedule.
Let's move on a bit. We'll still talk about Highlander a little bit more about Hildreth's personal experience. I know, talking to you at the beginning of various seasons in the last 12 months, I suppose, Hildreth, at one point you'd sort of given up on sixes and you were going to commit to Highlander, and here you are back playing 6v6. What is your favourite game mode? What's going through your mind, man?
Probably 6v6 is more fun to play than Highlander. Just enjoy it. At that time when I wasn't that interested, it was when my team, a few people had left. So it becomes, after when you play with the same people for 2 years and a few people are leaving, it just becomes harder to carry on. So lost the motivation to play.
Refresh our memories. Is that the Certo you're talking about?
Yeah, or Verbo Pandas.
Verbo Pandas, yeah. And Sheepy, was he the guy that left you high and dry?
It was Verbo, actually.
Or Verbo, that was it, yeah. Where is he now, Hildreth?
I think he's playing CSGO.
He's got your heart in a box.
Pretty much.
Everybody's playing CSGO. It's probably the only first time that game has possibly sort of contributed to the death of TF2. I never thought it'd be Counter-Strike. I thought it'd be Dota. Anyway.
kaidus, do you have any thoughts on Highlander, having played quite a few seasons in the Prem?
Highlander in general, or
yeah, Highlander as a tool to get people into 6v6. Highlander in its own right. Your time playing Highlander?
I don't know. It's fun to play. I guess it's more accessible. You probably also said this obvious stuff already. It's a lot more accessible because of the class, and people can get into the hurdles, IRC, mumbles, etc. But I don't know. As a spectator game, it's kind of very difficult to appreciate just as a spectator. I think you can only really enjoy it if you have played it to really kind of relate to the situations going on.
As a player, though?
As a player, it's fun to play. It can be pretty stressful because there's just too much going on. It's a lot harder to kind of control a team. Yeah. When I first started playing Highlander, I just came in and thought ha, Highlander's a joke. I'll just come and do whatever. And to be fair, that was actually kind of true when I started playing it, because it was still in its infancy, I guess, in terms of its development. But now it's it's really tough now to kind of carry it the same way you used to. And you have to actually really treat it as something in its own right. So yeah, good to play, bad watch.
I think that's sort of a good thing. Maybe we've been slating Pyro and various things, but Highlander, at the high level anyway, there's a lot going on, a lot of transferable skills that you can take from playing Highlander to sixes, about how to manage your team or support each other. Has playing Highlander made you a better sixes player, Hildreth or kaidus?
Not really. No.
I think it makes me worse, to be honest. Whenever I play a lot of Highlander, I feel like I get worse at sixes because just the mechanics are completely different. I find my reactions get slower from playing Highlander because there's a lot more patience involved a lot of the time.
Yeah, exactly. The Highlander, you have to deal with certain things that you don't have to in sixes. In a way, it's harder, but in a way, it's easier as well. It's hard to explain, really. The main thing is just knowing the game mode.
Yeah, I guess so. I want to talk real quick about the Highlander Open as well, Hildreth. Are you involved in that in any way? Are you going to be a buddy for any upcoming team?
I might. It depends, really. If anybody wants me. If I got the time, of course I have the time. Admirable, of course. We'll see. I might have a couple of friends that might need a buddy, but I'm just going along. I might write an article for John or something.
Yeah, I should tell everybody just a quick recap that the Highlander Open, you can find the homepage at highlanderopen.org, but it is going to be sort of the spiritual successor to the Highlander community. Oh, what was it called? I forget. Way back in ETF12 that had like 10,000 people.
Challenge.
That was it, challenge. And it's going to be like for non-competitive players, but they will have buddies. And I heard from John today that sign-ups will be closing on the 26th of June. So you still got plenty of time to sign up or encourage your non-competitive TF2 friends to get involved and try and get them hooked on the competitive format. But definitely head over and check out highlanderopen.org. Tweet it, share it to anyone you know who has the slightest interest in TF2, and we can keep the scene alive for I don't know, an indefinite period.
What's the time scale like? When is it kicking off? Do we have dates yet?
Sign-ups close on the 26th of June, and then it's the groups will be announced a week after that, and then week one, maybe another week after that. Is that what you told me, John? No one will know. John can't be heard. But then 13th of July, John tells me. So there's going to be loads more action happening over the summer too. What with the Nations Cup, I'm sure will be announced at some point. Am I jumping the gun there, ETFL admins? There's going to be the Twitch Invitational. There'll be some sort of fundraising effort from North Americans, maybe even Australians, towards I-52. And I saw today on the ETFL forum, Nimte saying that the TF2 tournament is confirmed with a 5k prize pool, which is exciting. Hildreth, are you planning to attend I-52?
Of course. I mean, it's only 20 minutes away from me in Coventry, so I'll go probably with a few friends.
I want to ask you as well, Hildreth, about your role as a contributor. You sort of been churning out the articles on a fairly regular basis over the last year. Like, you're always popping up, be it on Team Fortress TV or wherever, whether you're writing about Highlander or Sixes. Like, what is it that makes you do it, man?
Well,
what makes you tick?
This links with the question War was going to ask. What do you have any other hobbies?
Do you have any other hobbies?
I like writing, War.
Is it not ETF2L?
Well, yeah, ETF2L is my other hobby.
Close second place.
Yeah, I really enjoy writing, so it's nice to write about something that you do a lot, more or less every day. So that's why I do it. But also, it's just because sometimes I see, like on Vanilla TV, and it's not really, there's no new articles, or on Team Fortress TV, there's nothing about the start of the season. I just remember when there used to always be content, so I just write something, just so there's something up there.
What would you say to somebody, Hildreth, who's like sitting there thinking that they'd like to contribute to the scene or get involved, but they've just never quite made it?
Well, step 1, go on Vanilla TV or Vanilla TF2. Step 2, hit submit an article, and step 3, just write away. And then if you have any problems, you can talk to Ari. He's pretty nice. What can I say? Don't talk to Admirable. He doesn't give you any help.
That's true.
Just do it as well. Like, even if you're completely retarded and you have almost no grasp of English, just make a blog, because that's what I've had to do. And I just get a mystery person to proofread everything that I do to make sure.
Why don't you post your blog on Team Fortress TV? You might get more views.
Team Fortress TV is a pain in the ass. Well, WordPress is easy. WordPress, I can just do it at home. I can do it on the train to work.
Yeah, actually,
I can do it on my lunch break. It's just, formatting is just piss easy. And the things that I want to write about may not be suitable for Team Fortress TV, because they're just sort of, sometimes they're just mainly demo man based. You know, like as much, Team Fortress TV is mainly for Team Fortress 2 in general, not just for my own general ramblings about how to be an overrated demo man and only use pipes and just use that as a crutch for being in Prem. But, you know,
Are you rated?
What?
Are you rated?
What do you mean?
Oh damn, that fell on its face.
Oh.
But
yeah, oh, I get it. I rated. Well, Bite did put me in his hypothetical TF2 team last week, so I hope so with that. At least I know I'll be able to get into one tier 2 team. But yeah, I think people have just sort of got to do it. There's loads of people that are willing to help and sort of, you know, help guide you, come up
Help
with things and
contribute
stuff like
as well.
yeah.
Like if you want, I know Hildreth asks people, you know, to contribute with predictions and stuff and things like that. Like people are happy to contribute, especially if you can kind of like break the work down and make it a lot easier to churn out content.
It really doesn't take. The thing is, one of the most easiest things to create content for is interviews. Like, if all you need to do is just write down some questions, like just put them in like a paste bin, send it to a player, them to answer it, and just make an article out of it. There you go. You've got one article, and you've only had to make up questions. That's all you've had to do, and things like that is what's going to drive more content for TF2. Like, vanilla is dead. That I don't think it's ever going to be alive again unless there's some sort of huge sort of rally cry. But I would prefer if everything was at one source point, which Team Fortress TV, fine, that's good. It's already got a good brand. It's already got a good sort of reputation behind it. So as long as we put all our effort into one thing, I mean, the community is not big enough to have like all of these conflicting passing organizations that are just going to be on top of each other and just slapping each other in the face with their dicks. It's just, we don't have the time for that. We need to pool all our resources together. And
on the one hand, though, vanilla's a lot easier if you're new to writing stuff to get into. Because you're saying WordPress and everything.
I would admit to that I think the thing is, I would happily write for Team Fortress TV, but I can't just log in, write article, and then submit it and wait for it to be approved. You know, the thing is that as I was saying, with WordPress, it's easy to put in media, it's easy to put in pictures, everything is piss easy, and that is why I write articles on my blog, because even a dribbler such as myself could do it.
Let's jump to the final segment of the show. CommanderX.
I wasn't finished.
Predictions for each game.
Yeah, okay, so we're going into week 2. The first game on my list that is scheduled is Rocket versus GG Well Played, which looks likely to be the most interesting fixture of all of them. The maps will be Gullywash and Badlands, so sort of the two most prominent maps in TF2 in Europe. The two teams I think are going to be really closely matched. It's going to be on Tuesday, I believe it's been scheduled for. And I think I'm going to cast it definitely with someone else, unconfirmed yet. But yeah, I think GG Well Played are going to take it. Something like 5-2, 4-3 or something. Something along those lines. Anyone else want to jump in at any point with any kind of predictions? Kaidus?
Versus Rocket.
I can see.
Yeah, GG Well Played against Rocket.
That's either a bag or a set of tissues where Kaidus used to be.
It is it's a monitor cleaning cloth hanging off my shelf.
Professional gamer.
And my prediction for that game is Badlands and Gullywash, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
I would reckon. I don't know. You haven't played a match, right, with Rocket? Obviously not. But I reckon GG Well Played could take Gullywash, maybe. But Badlands will go to Rocket, I reckon.
I think Rocket will win it in 2 maps. I watched the VODs of the GG Well Played versus Epsilon game, and I think they won 1 medal on Gullywash. I'm calling it, man. I'm standing up for my team.
Balls on the
Those
line.
Russians ain't gonna scare us. We just did with Shadowburn on every medal.
Even with Rico?
And clean up their
Rico's in the team
terrible
now.
scouts.
War, are you echoing Admirable's confidence?
It depends on many, many, many things. So then I don't destroy the hopes and dreams of hundreds of thousands of cookie followers. I'm going to say we're going to smash them. However, to be a realist, we're probably going to lose.
We have yet to win a game.
No, we have.
What,
We won. We won a game against Shifty's team. Yes. So, well, maybe we're just saving all of our resources. You know, this PCWs for us are light training. We don't want to pull a muscle before the big game. So we're just sort of taking it easy.
Judging from your stream, you've not even come close to pulling any muscles or straining anything.
Part of our disinformation campaign. We want people to think we're shit.
Yeah. So then, when obviously it comes to it, it's just gonna. Everybody's gonna be like, "Oh, who are these guys? They're so good. I did not expect this after we 5-0'd them
We're going to win
times."
4-3, 4-3. It's not going to be a roll, but we will win. Guaranteed.
Okay. Confident from a Rocket side. War, I think you're echoing a bit. I think you need to mute your mic and the webcam thing.
I've done that.
All right, nice, cool. So yeah, split results on that game. That's going to be on Tuesday next week. Myself and a mystery guest will be bringing that to you. The next game
is it me, the mystery guest?
It might have to be. You might have to.
The
double
game
up.
ends so
Two
soon.
mumbles.
I can probably cast it.
The next game might also be ending fairly quickly. It's Epsilon versus Saints, and I believe that's going to be on Thursday, the 22nd. Do we even want to go around doing predictions, or is anyone got massive support for Saints? Hildreth, maybe? Have you got any secret hopes for Saints to upset Epsilon?
You never know.
If Saints beat Epsilon or take a map off them, I will eat a well-made tuna sandwich.
It's going to be like 5-0 or 6-1.
Oh, Hildreth with the confidence for Saints to get one round.
Did you mean I meant for Saints?
No, that's what I mean. Saints to get one round, Epsilon to get 6.
Actually, get around against them.
That's as high as our optimism. That's as high as we're willing to push our optimism for Saints one round. Yeah. Okay.
Maybe a mid.
Maybe a mid. Yeah, you never know. Maybe even 2 mids. You go, Saints. So yeah, that one might be over before it started. Really, I think there was one time I played it against Epsilon and it was over in about 15 minutes both maps. We'll see if Saints can hold out for longer than that. That can be their goal. The next match is Lazy Pandas versus BFF, which from what I can gather is going to be either on Wednesday or Thursday next week. I don't know if Kaidus or Hildreth have any more info on that date.
Well, more than likely Thursday. Yeah, it's going to be on Thursday, I believe.
Yeah,
it's all about
Thursday.
scheduling the Highlander final.
Okay, let's do predictions. Admirable, you're up at top of Mumble, you go first.
5-0, 5-0 to BFF. Sorry, bro.
No, it's
Hildreth,
okay.
you're next in Mumble.
What are the maps? I don't even...
Badlands, Gullywash.
We'll probably lose quite bad. I put up a better fight, but I don't really think we'll win.
That's the
Kaidus.
spirit. Did you not just hear me lie
never
through my
know.
teeth that Rocket are going to win? What the hell?
Oh, maybe I might just say that maybe we'll get a golden cap or something on Gully.
Yes.
I'll be
Okay,
positive for you.
go.
There we go. There's some points in the bag.
Go get him, Tiger.
Kaidus, can your team do it?
I think so. Like, I don't really know what the score will be. We've only played Lazy Pandas once, and I think they were having a rough day when we played them. But
That's every day with us.
well, it seemed very rough the one time we played. So if it's anything like that, it will be probably 5-0, 5-0. But I don't feel like I really know this team very well, so maybe I'll be a bit more conservative and say like 6-1, 7-2, something like that.
I'll tell you now, Steve, the Pyro is not going to be playing Pyro. That's some intel for you.
War, give us a prediction before we move on.
5-0, 5-0.
Okay.
Wait,
Cool.
5-0, 6-1, 6-1 on Gullywash, because Hildreth said that they'll put up a fight on that, and that fight will last all one round.
Excellent. The final game is 425 versus Phoenix. It's currently, I can't find out any scheduled information. They don't seem to have
Thursday
talked
as
to each
well.
other yet. Thursday as well?
Mhm.
Okay, yeah. So that's going to be, obviously, that's Badlands and Gullywash as well. This one, I guess, maybe could go either way. Phoenix looks really strong in their first game. 425 looked pretty strong as well. I think 425, have a chance. I think they're underrated by a lot of people. I'm going to maybe go with maybe Phoenix to take one map, sort of like 5-2 or something. Then maybe on Gullywash, sort of maybe like a golden cap. Either way, split points. Anyone else want to jump in?
Yeah, man.
425 are pretty decent. Well, they've got potential. They have the players to sort of do things. I think there isn't really a weak sort of link in that team, like a significant amount. They're all pretty good at the respective classes. It's just general teamwork, I think, but they can sometimes suck a bit on. So I reckon they could maybe take a few rounds, but I don't think they'll win. I think it will be a close game though. Thinking maybe 3-2 Gullywash, 5-4 Badlands to Phoenix.
Both to Phoenix.
Yeah.
Okay. Admirable.
I could see 425 getting some points from this. I don't know, maybe from a golden cap, but they definitely have some moves. They favor the crits quite often, and in the official 425, Kenzie demonstrated that he can indeed snipe pretty effectively, so that's something to watch out for as well. But Death is pretty solid in Demoman.
Death's been playing well recently. He's really been sort of stepping it up a notch. Out of all the 425 players, he's the one who's sort of almost raised his game to compete a little bit more.
I think they can take points. Not going to say they're going to win a map, but I'm going to say they'll get 1 point. They will lose Badlands 5-4, and they will lose Gullywash on a golden cap 4-3.
Hildreth.
425 versus Phoenix.
Mm-hmm.
It's the game up. 425, obviously they beat us, so they look pretty good. I think they'll probably do more on Gullywash. So maybe 4-2, 4-5-1 to Phoenix.
Okay. Kaidus. Final predictions.
I think you guys are overrating 425 a little bit. I think Badlands is going to be comfortable for Phoenix, and Gully might be close if 425 turn up, and I can see it kind of degrading into a kind of this AIDS sniper game, and then depending on how Walters plays, it will either be comfortable again for Phoenix, or if Walters is bad, it will be a close game on Gully.
All on Walters then? Yeah, that wraps up.
Not necessarily. Let's just
But if it goes to
I
sniper.
have a feeling it can do, if Kenzie's playing and he's sniping, Walters is the kind of guy that's going to be like, oh, I'll snipe as well then.
Challenge him.
And depending on, there's these two versions of Walters that sometimes the good one shows up and sometimes the bad one shows up. If the good one shows up, then it's not going to matter. It's still going to be comfortable. But if the bad one shows up, I think he's still going to snipe anyway, but they're going to get in trouble.
I think Kenzie is a good video gamer. I think he's better than Walters.
He's getting more consistent.
Yeah, I think he's better as well, but I just mean if Walters gets completely outshone by him, then they can make it close. But if Walters can just hang in there, then the other attributes of Phoenix will be enough to keep it simple for them.
That'll be Gullywash again, when that can really come to the fore. Badlands doesn't really give as much opportunity for Kenzie to show his stuff.
I think Badlands is going to be straightforward for Phoenix, and Gully, they have the potential to make it close, but it won't necessarily happen.
Yeah, well, I'm sure we'll get someone to cover that game. That's on Thursday, I think you said, was it?
Yeah, 3 on Thursday.
So, yeah, I imagine, so we're definitely bringing you Rocket against GG Well Played on Tuesday next week, and I imagine it'll be before 25 game against Phoenix we're covering on Thursday. I don't know who will get together, but I'm sure we'll find people. I think that kind of brings us to the end of the show, unless there's any more questions for Hildreth, any final shout-outs?
I've got some news. Yeah, well, I've mentioned it before. WARHURYEAH has come to an end because of all the political pressure that he's been under for using copyright fonts. I now had to find a new HUD because of that dick. That is literally all the community news.
Can you not just keep using his HUD until it breaks?
Oh, well, the thing is that he's taken it down because he can't redistribute fonts and it's illegal to. I don't want to be, a victim to the crime. No, well, an accomplice to his, obviously, thing.
Could he not just change the font?
Yeah,
he's doing
that. He's making his own font though, because if you use another font, there isn't a font that exists that gives you complete licensing powers. So he is now trying to make a font.
That'd be a great story, though,
this is probably the best thing ever because he's really taking TF2 HUD making really seriously. Nobody else gives a shit who's ever made a HUD before. But this guy, he's taking it to the level. He's making sure that he'll never get sued because of all those previous HUD makers that are now sort of eating tins of beans because they can't meet.
They've been sued
so
for every penny they have. Yeah.
People wondered where Moore went, man. He's locked up in some Finnish gulag.
It was all a cover-up. He didn't just want to stop playing and stop maintaining the HUD.
We'll
He's been
see
locked up in a
takedown
Finnish
notices
jail.
now on our fonts. I can't use Race HUD anymore.
I'd just like to shout out that I'll be publishing a week 2 preview either tonight or probably tomorrow, actually, let's be realistic, but it's almost finished. I've got everything in there, just need to write some more bullshit, but I'll just steal everybody's suggestions from tonight about how the games will play out, but check that out on Team Fortress TV.
I'm going to have a blog post up soon, WARHURYEAH.com. That's it.
Okay, yeah, we good? Cool, thanks for
Highlands
watching,
are open
guys.
again.
Yeah, highlandseropen.org, checking that out if you're new or you know someone who's new, want to get involved in the scene, it's a great way to get started.
And the grand final. Season 6 Highlander
is it
grand final.
scheduled yet, or is it just next
Hildreth,
week at some point?
sell it.
I'm sorry, I haven't been listening for the last
Hildreth, Highlander grand final.
Oh yeah, it's going to be great. Please watch me win. Thank you.
There's that
That's going to be on
confidence we were
Blackout.
missing from the 6v6.
Yeah, why don't you have that
We'll
confidence
just
when you-
watch for the sake of John, because John does so much. That should hopefully sell it.
John is cheering in the background, but you guys can't hear him on stream.
They've
Yeah.
heard him so excited.
I guess we're done then, CommanderX.
Cool, thanks for watching, guys. Check out the cast later this week and look out for the next Fully Charged next week where we'll bring you more of the same. Thanks for watching. Bye.